All right, man. This is a video request. Shout out to McLean on Twitter. He asks, you can always have a video request. Maybe I'll start a mailbag or whatever you guys want to talk about. So check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up. Share the video. Make sure you hit the bell icon and hit all notification. Gang. We're here. And it's a good question. And I'm going to make sure I get it right. Well, you got to start with the second question before we get to the first question. He said, how much longer they're going to be bad when it takes for them to be contenders. Now, for one, it's easy to be contenders in the National Football League as far as the formula, right? The formula is not to my hair getting long quick. I'm telling you, my hair grow back quick than a month. I'm happy that it grow back at all. And I'm happy to grow back quick. In the wintertime, I only do like one haircut a month, unless it's like a special occasion. I do one. And it's important for you guys out here. It's important. Girls who also get their haircut. Every time you line you up, my barber said, he got to push your line back every time. But it's not far. But my thing is, now don't line up every day, every week. Let your hair grow back. You know what I'm saying? So it establishes strength. You keep cutting it, keep getting weaker. So my little tip. So always in the winter, even in the summer, I can cut 2 times a month, right? At the most. Let your shit grow back naturally. It'll be fuller. Getting the hair line up and getting cut every week. Come on, man. You get older, your reproduction system, even with your hair, whatever you call it, with your hair, it's gonna slow down. So, start that habit earlier. But the second part of this question, what is it gonna take? I asked before how long, and it always takes a little bit of luck. That's what it starts for, a little bit of luck. When we talking about luck, the ball might bounce one way, the ball might bounce another way. Luck, you know what I'm saying? Luck, turnovers, and those are the 2 components, man. Luck and turnovers are 2 things you need. But the most important thing you need, as far as talking about a rebuild, is simply you need to draft well. It's not free agency or nothing like that. You need to draft well. All right. You need to draft great. And it starts with this guy. The Lions need to draft good. And last year, you know what? He actually drafted pretty good last year. He drafted really well last year, man. Let's keep it funky. He did a great job. It's some injuries in there. Levi Anasorki, he didn't have a training camp. People saying, well, why he ain't being impactful? Well, he didn't play. He didn't really play a lot of training camp. He didn't play last year in college. He has a back injury. I think he's gonna be okay. But somebody talking about one of the players who's really good is Aleem McNeil. You know what I'm saying? And I think he got to continue to draft for it. So playing well. Anasorki, he gonna come. Aleem, he playing well. Elefantu, he was playing well until the injury with Devontae Adams. I mean, who else we had? Derek Barnes, he getting his shot. So to me, Amara St. Brown, he playing as well as you can hope, especially playing out of position inside, outside. So really, despite the talent gap, people saying that's not there, they can easily be 3 and who they played last week. They can really be honest, they could have won all 4 games they played. Okay. They could have won all 4 games they played, from San Francisco to Green Bay to Baltimore, all the way to last week with Chicago. They could have won those games. They could have won without Jared Goff throwing a pick 6 at the end of the half. Who knows? So Jared Goff, if it didn't rain in Green Bay, Jared Goff emulated his first and second half, could have won. Baltimore, bad coaching. So one thing you start with is talent. That's the one thing you start with in the National Football League. You got to draft well. One thing about drafting versus free agents, see, in the NFL, building your team through free agency never works. The dream team in the Eagles, Albert Haynesworth to the football team. Who else we didn't have out there? Julius Bird from Buffalo to New Orleans. Excuse me. Didn't do much. So, like I said before, it's all about drafting. Because when you draft, you get somebody for the cheap. There's no salary. There's a cap on which you play the rookies now. Excuse me, one second. Excuse me. There's a cap on what you could pay the rookies. I don't know. Hold on, I'm congested. Sorry, there's a cap on what you can play the rookies now. So it's cheaper to draft. It's cheaper. You don't have to pay a lot of people nothing. So that's why drafting is imperative. They have to draft well. They gotta have luck. They gotta get turnovers. Also, you got a coach. Right now, the head coach is a moron. He's a legitimate meathead. Just like he called himself a meathead, he's a legitimate meathead. He's lost some football games with his bad decisions. I mean, if it was Stafford here, they'd probably be 3-1 at the worst. Let's be real. All right. But yeah, drafting is the key. young, cheap labor. That's what it's about. Young, cheap labor. That's what drafting do. And he got to continue to draft well. Next year, he had 2 firsts. We talked about in the live this morning. Make sure to check the live out. He'll have a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th in compensatory picks, right? Let's say they got I don't know if they got their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So they have a lot of picks. That's why I was an advocate of trading DeAndre Swift and Taylor Decker. We did the Taylor Decker, the Raiders. And people like, like I said before, with DeAndre Swift, I can find another one of him. If I get a 2nd round pick for him, he gone. People say, we always say on our talent. Well, you're forgetting Jamal Williams is the best back here. Now, I might have a hunch that Jamar Jefferson, a Godwin, and Ibuchi might be better than DeAndre Swift in the long run. So I'm always the person that, when you got injury-prone players, especially running backs, where they take hits every time they touch the ball, I'm willing to move on, right? But, if you trade Decker and Swift and get 2 picks, I mean, you're talking about 13, 14 picks next year. You could literally have a draft with, 6 picks, 7 picks defense, 6 picks offense. So you can have the 13 legitimate, the best drafted players on top of the undrafted players. So at the end of the day, people using them not winning the first 4 games or winning first of the 4 games or 2 or 3 of the first 4 games on rebuilding. No, you have an opportunity to win football games with the players that's there. They didn't lose those games based on not having overall talent. They didn't lose those games based on the kicker. They lost them games on incompetence and quarterback play. Each one of them. Coaching incompetence in Baltimore lost that game. Green Bay, they lost that game because of quarterback play. And really, the 49er game, the defense was atrocious, but legitimately what the difference in the game was the quarterback couldn't keep up. And then last week, the quarterback, had some turnovers, incompetence from the coach on 4th and 1, and a couple goal line plays or inside the 20 plays. So ultimately for this team, for it to have to turn around, like I said, turnover, luck, personnel, drafted players, and really ultimately they're gonna have to get rid of Dan Campbell. Because when you look at it, he's stupid. I'm not saying his positional coach is bad. I think him picking a 3-4 head coach with the roster of a 4-3, them standing Trey Flowers up, trash. Them drafting defensive offensive line. Had they chose to stick with a 4-3, Romeo Core would probably be healthy right now. Core, Trey Flowers, McNeil, and Lazorki all probably be dominant guys, dominant forces. Paninci's playing well. Why he ain't getting no more playing time? Deshaun Hand to be back. He probably be cut after the year. So also from him, the coaching and staff is the head coach is making too many mistakes. 3-4 defense, mismanagement, and also on him. He made a mistake. He made a mistake going with Jared Goff. Taking Jared Goff and taking 2 presumably 2nd round picks that'll be late first and from the Rams in the 3rd, and not doing what's best for the franchise, which he should have traded Stafford to Charlotte. They could have ended up with Penisa Will and Justin Fields in hindsight. They could have traded that pick for multiple picks next year, however they want to do it. Right now, his biggest mistake right now, I think Dan Campbell was forced on him. His biggest mistake is literally bringing Jared Goff here. That's it. Had he took the 2 firsts and the 3rd, cool. That's his mistake. His biggest mistake right now, Dan Campbell is not on. They forced Dan Campbell on. His biggest mistake is taking Jared Goff so far, and we see how many mistakes. And his biggest mistake ain't drafting. It ain't none of that. I think he continue to draft well. He have around 12, let's say 11, 12 picks next year, plus undrafted. So his biggest mistake is taking Jared Goff. That might have been an organization decision. That might not have been on him. But bringing Jared Goff in return, come on, mistake and not drafting. If he drafted a younger quarterback behind Jared Goff, I would have accepted that. But for me, things they need not in order. They need to do to turn this around: luck, turnovers, draft, make better decisions in personnel. Get rid of Dan Campbell. He's an idiot. It's my opinion. Maybe he may show more competence in the season, but through the first quarter, he's the reason he lost the Baltimore game. He may be partial reason they lost to Chicago. The first 2 games on Brad Holmes breaking Jared Goff here. Now, how long would it take? Ultimately, TBD, to be determined. I think it is. Simply, we've been waiting to turn this around through the whole 12 years Stafford been here. 13th year, before he got here. Remember, they was really bad the previous year before Stafford got there. Hold on, what year did Stafford get here? Hold on. Like 2009 draft, 2008 Detroit Lions. Remember the previous year they were the previous year they was meant to get Sam Bradford, and with Sam Bradford, so he was driving 2009 with Sam Bradford. He didn't want to come to Detroit, so they ended up with Stafford. Maybe they took Sam Bradford. Maybe Sam Bradford stayed in the draft. Remember, he avoided coming to Detroit. Maybe they don't go on 17. Maybe they do, but ultimately, he went back to the draft in 2009. Went back to the draft, and they probably would have took Sam Bradford over Matthew Stafford. And ultimately, it's to be determined. Nobody can actually know how long it's going to take to turn around. We've been waiting for it to turn around since the year after Berry level, like 99, 98, when they made the playoffs. It's been no hope in sight. They had great players from Sean Rogers. They drafted good guys like Quadre Digg, Willie Young, and ultimately, in those early years, they couldn't get the quarterback. Whether it was John Kidna, who was Charlie Biatch, all the other quarterbacks they had, Mike McMahon, Drew Stanton. They get a quarterback and they don't feel anything's behind them. And ultimately, man, I can't really say. Nobody can say. I mean, they could easily be 3-1 or 4-0 right now, 2-2. I think. Just like they with Stafford, they in a transcend. If they want to speed this rebuild up, it's a transcendent quarterback, a Rodgers, a Brady, a Peyton Manning. You're probably not going to find that, at least in next year's draft. And ultimately, man, I don't know. I don't know. If you want a quick fix, you want to transcend the quarterback. But if you want to build it the right way, you still need to transcend the quarterback. But they're gonna need to draft well. I think he will draft well. Ultimately, the quarterback, Jared Goff, not the guy. He in denial. He took a pile of shit and now he's stuck with a pile of shit. So, I mean, ultimately, TBA, let me know what you guys think. Check Detroit Lions Talk playlist out. Thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to the channel. My social media subscription, Twitter's the fast way, and Facebook and Instagram. We want to advertise channel, video request, chop it up. Want to make a financial donation, Cash App, CJ Good 313, Venmo, CJ Good 313, PayPal link description. Best way to donate, share the video, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up. Appreciate the love support. Let me know in the comment section. Other than that, man, that's my opinion. I'm always taking a waiting approach to see what the Lions the last 2 years. And I'll wait and see. But I think Brad Holmes did a good job drafting. But you can do everything right. But if you don't get the quarterback position right, you're a goner.